Happy Saturday. Welcome to the upper deck. We're going to chat about Soto, Rizzo, and anybody else whose last name ends in O.
Cue the music.
Good morning. Welcome to the upper deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Chris. That's Lynn.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning on a Saturday. Yay.
Yeah, it's weird. We're here on Saturday. We were accommodating a guest, and it's in the spirit of the season. It's a ghost. So we have no guest, but we will in the future, and we'll enjoy having a Saturday session.
Yep, absolutely. And as always, we're ready to roll. And we'll do it the normal way. Let's start with the trivia question of the week. Hey, FJ, thanks for remembering.
Hey, thanks for joining us, FJ.
It's so good to see ya. We're starting with the trivia question of the week, and here we go from our resident trivia master, Spencer. So here we go. The Yankees played their very first World Series game October 10th, 1923 against the New York Giants in front of 55,000 fans at the new Yankee Stadium. Although known as the house that Ruth built, who hit the first World Series home run in Yankee Stadium?
Oh my God, I love that question.
So there's a clue there, which hey, Elliot, good morning.
Hey, Elliot.
And thanks for giving us a clue because I'm old, but I wasn't around in 1923. So this is tough. But he's sort of intimating that don't necessarily think it's Babe Ruth. And there we go. Thanks for that, Elliot.
Absolutely, we appreciate your input. There's actually, when it seems like there's nothing going on, there's actually some stuff happening. And the most recent rumors swirl around Juan Soto. And I wonder how you guys feel about him and what your favorite rumor is at the moment. Did I lose you?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
They're just to the yep, absolutely. You got to pay the homage, Spencer. No doubt about it.
Yes. Hey, Deb.
Yeah, Deb. Good morning. Good morning. So let me throw up this tweet from our friend on Twitter, John Harvey, real quick.
Yeah.
Because it kind of answers the question while our chat friends think about it. So Hal's agenda: trade Rizzo for minor league pitching for Soto. Sign Bellinger, who could spell DJ at first. At first, I thought he was saying sign someone who knows how to spell DJ. Sign Bellinger, who can spell DJ at first, and play center field when Judge isn't. I'm thinking maybe John meant right field, but sign Yamamoto, trade a catcher for depth or a lefty pen arm, re-sign Peralta or another lefty, and free margaritas from all fans in Canada. Can you guess where John lives? So that's one theory going around.
Yeah, Elliot says that he's a big doubter on these things, but his intuition is simmering. And definitely the intuition of the Yankee beat writers is simmering because they're kind of going at it hammer and tongs about what is going on. Andy Martino this week said the ball is rolling. He said that the Yankees checked in and at least at the deadline checked in. We know for sure. He and John Hyman agree on that at the trade deadline in August, they checked in on Soto. And basically, I guess they all left it that they would check back if they decided to trade him or if the opportunity came down the road. Well, now the opportunity is back around, and the talk is that the Yankees have checked in with the Padres and just to do an initial check-in. And that's Andy Martino, and he went on the Michael Kay show and talked about this yesterday.
Okay, so
if you trust Andy Martino, there's that. Now John Hyman says, no, they didn't. They haven't done a check-in since the trade deadline, but I don't think that he's doubting the Yankees are a good fit. And we can talk about that. Soto he's the fit. Let's get him. Go get him, Hal.
Yep. And Spencer, I heard tell of that as well, that they're already feeling out the Soto move. And when you think about Heyman and Martino, not necessarily the best track record for accuracy.
Yeah.
But I think Hoke said something about it.
Yeah, it was interesting. Brian Hoke is kind of the unofficial official voice of the Yankees, and he said if the Yankees have a chance to get Juan Soto and can sign him long term, no one should be untouchable.
Okay, and so that means, to me, the first thing I think of when I hear that is meaning also Glaber is untouchable.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot on the show with our friends in the chat about, will they keep Glaber or not?
Right.
And so, okay, anyone is game.
Anyone is game.
Right.
I think it's so interesting that some of the speculation this week has been centered on Rizzo, because I woke up one day and Rizzo was not a fan favorite, or what? Fans are willing to part with this fabulous Italian stallion.
Yeah, I don't know. We're double-sided talkers, right? We
are
bandwagon about a bunch of things, and then when something happens, we're storming the castle about it.
Oh yeah.
So, case in point, I mean, there's so many cases in point, and hey, the theme of the show today is let the chat drive the show. So handing the keys over, and
let us know what you think about Soto. Let us know what you think about Rizzo. I mean, Johnny Lasagna, probably most of you follow him at J Lasagna 43. He made this tweet. He said, if Rizzo is still a Yankee, I don't care about his spring training homers. He has to prove that he's himself again during major league at-bats. His numbers come June will tell the story. And it's just kind of amazing to me, because before Rizzo was injured, before the concussion, he was having a career year. And are fans remembering that? Because I don't think Rizzo needs to prove himself, per se. Do you?
So I certainly don't, because he had the track record before the injury. So yeah. I don't think he has anything to prove. And yeah, I think it's more a matter of, how healthy he'll return. But we don't know that until he returns. So I don't see him being on the map for, the winter meetings. So and hey, Brad, great to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
I would say with Rizzo, he's a valuable enough piece to be. If he's valuable enough to get Soto, let's do it. Do it. I love Rizzo, and because I'm also a secret Cub fan, because I grew up in 3 hours from Chicago. But so I root for them on the side a little bit. But so Rizzo's a favorite of mine. But I still say, if you can do it, and Rizzo and some maybe package him with some minor league players, do it. Ship him off tomorrow. I'll pay the ticket.
I'll pick him up at the airport. Right there, just to pick him up at the airport. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Dev, I'm not quite sure at what point you put in "you ladies sure." I don't know if that's a remark about we're letting you drive the chat, or if there's something else. So, tell us more about that. And
also, what about the possibility of shipping Stanton's ass off to the Padre land? I wouldn't mind that in the least. I've heard some talk that may be a way to go. Anybody want to comment on Stanton being a Padre?
Well, Elliot's putting here before you ask that question that he can't imagine the Padres would seek damaged goods like Rizzo. So
Right.
that would be triple when we're talking about Stanton.
Well, it depends on what the Padres think they're doing. I mean, are they going for a rebuild? If they were going for a rebuild, then I suppose that's true. But the Padres are probably not.
Right. And NFE, hey, NFE, so they're saying that we're going to have to ask they're going to ask for some MLB ready pitchers, meaning prospects.
Right. Which, fine, we have the prospects for it. I would say if that can be done, again, do it. Whatever that, I mean, if it doesn't involve Judge or Cole, do it.
So that then anything's on the table, Nestor, Schmidt, King, anyone.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, we definitely have the pieces to move. And we have a crowded infield. Is there some? But then again, yeah, I guess that's not really.
NFE, you always remind us of the key details. That's right.
Right.
And Brad's saying so far the hot air from ownership and the front office doing anything this offseason is my best rumor of the offseason thus far.
I know. The only thing about the hot stove season, which is coming fast approaching, I think it's fun to speculate. Some people don't really get the point of speculation. It gives my overactive brain something to do when there's no baseball. So I realize that it's kind of pointless, but at the same time, I get a lot of pleasure out of it. It gives me a laugh sometimes even. For example, when I think about the possibility that we could unload Stanton's contract, I get a little excited about that. I don't know if it's even a remote possibility, but.
Well, if there's a team out there as stupid as the Yankees and take on a Josh Donaldson kind of a deal, then then I guess it's possible. And so Brad's calling Stanton a windmill at the plate. Yeah, except that windmills are supposed to generate energy.
Yeah, no shit. And I mean, there's speculation is Stanton going to come back and be himself again next year? I mean, what is the deal? I do not get it. What is wrong with this man's legs? Why can he not run? He's not ancient. He's what, 33 or so? I don't know. But at any rate, he's definitely a windmill at the plate. And, his outfield performance leaves a lot to be desired. I realize that. But if someone's banking on Stanton coming back to be himself next year, that's great. Do it somewhere else.
Yeah, because he literally needs like a pinch runner in his contract. And a pinch runner that doesn't like have to replace him at the plate. We'd have to call Manfred and make a whole other new agreement about the pinch runner rule.
I know. Elliot thinks Stanton's going to rebound, and I just wonder why and how you expect that to happen. Do you now? This is maybe a point where we can talk about Sean Casey. I know that all of you have heard that we lost Sean Casey this week. He's not returning. His choice, I wonder about that. Actually, I'm going to throw out the speculation that he wasn't coming back anyway.
Oh, what does everyone think about that? That's kind of juicy.
I don't think it was a good fit. I think there's some ideas that it maybe wasn't the best fit.
And would that speculation be based off the fact that Sean Casey is an old school kind of guy who seems to just really rely on instinct and guts and throwing in some mechanics and putting the full package together rather than, you must put your left foot here, you must put your right foot there prior to doing the hokey pokey, as is the Yankees' way, apparently.
Yeah, FJ, we're going to circle back to that question. Let's finish off what we started here. regarding Sean Casey, but I do want to talk about that.
Yes, let's.
Otani question. But yeah, Sean Casey, I got a tweet here from at West Clements 22, and he says, I've heard it all now, because the speculation was, I did hear this, that, or read this, that the younger players there was a disconnect between Sean Casey and the younger players on the team, because the hitting style, or the hitting that he was preaching to them, was not what they had been brought up with in the minors. The veterans seem to have gelled with him better. But anyway, this is what at West Clements 22 had to say about that. I've heard it all now. A real player hitting mind is the voice for Yankees hitting. And what he talks about and teaches is different than what was being taught in the entire organization previously. Of course it's going to be different. That's why you hired him. And that's perfect. It is why we hired him. Wasn't working.
Right, exactly. And Brad's saying in the chat that, and this kind of backs up your theory, because Brad's saying that DJ and others benefited from Casey.
Right.
DJ didn't come up through the farm, and he's a veteran player. But what difference did we see in the younger guys that, especially the ones that recently came up?
Right.
And
in fact, I think some of the younger guys actually struggled after more.
Yes.
So
it's a difference in when Sean Casey came, and it wasn't like what we want to see.
Right.
That's interesting, NFE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, who are some people that players or not professional players that you would like to see coming into as the hitting coach? People are making the most random speculations. They really want Jorge Posada to come and be the hitting coach, Paul O'Neill. Everybody wants all these big name ex-Yankees who are not going to become the hitting coach of the New York Yankees.
First of all, it's a miracle when Paul O'Neill comes out of his basement in Ohio. We're seeing him in the booth, and he flies promptly back to his basement. I don't think you're going to see O'Neill full-time in the clubhouse and at every game. Tino being bandied about, I certainly don't mind that. That's interesting.
I love that. Yes, absolutely.
Are the Yankees even going to consider that a priority right now? Maybe this was a little experiment, a little appeasement for the fans. Hey, yeah, we know we're sucking. We're going to bring in this spark plug of a guy,
right?
And see if it mollified us for a minute. And admittedly, it did. I had great hopes in Sean Casey. This is actually upsetting to me.
Right.
But Tino is a hitting coach. I wouldn't be hating that.
No.
But let me do a little apples and oranges, but kind of similar is they brought Pettit back for the pitchers. Has anyone heard any tell or any sign of other than at the beginning that he was there to help with the pitching coaching, and any presence, any mention of him from Hoke or others, any interviews about what's doing, any comments from the pitchers? It makes me wonder what happened there, and was that a more quiet go away?
Well, and then this week also, you guys probably saw this. Reggie criticized the Yankees organization. Now that he's working for the Astros, he can say all the things that he wants to say about the Yankee organization. And he made the comment that they don't consider the viewpoints of people like himself and maybe someone like Pettit. I don't know. But what do you think about that?
I'd be interested to see.
I thought it was wild that he would go to work for the Astros to begin with.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. But also kind of like he'll go wherever he thinks that he's going to be, lauded and,
Yeah.
get to run his mouth. And
Right.
FJ is bringing up, FJ, I love Swisher's energy.
I love Swisher.
And I agree. Batting coach wouldn't come top of mind to me, but having him on the bench, generating that energy, checking in with players and pitchers when they come back into the dugout, being in Boone's ear on things, I don't hate that either.
No,
At
not
all.
at all.
Yeah. And I know that there was something we wanted to come back to.
We wanted to come back to the Ohtani comment right here with if the Yankees can get rid of Stanton, should they make a pitch for Ohtani? Yes, 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 yes.
Chris has been dying to answer this one.
I've been dying for that. I mean, he would be so great in New York. He's a superstar built for the big stage. I think that he would definitely perform. And I don't know. I would be so excited to see Ohtani become a Yankee.
Well, Deb's seeing your yes, 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 and saying no, no. Oh, no, 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 no.
I get it. I totally get why you wouldn't want Ohtani. And I could actually go both ways on it. I mean, we've got our superstar, but and I really do want to see Soto. If it was rather Soto or Ohtani, of course I want to see Soto every day because Ohtani, I'm afraid about the dual role. I really think that's not going to last.
No, I mean, first of all, it's not even going to be a decision point because he's getting older and because of the major injury that he's recovering from.
Exactly.
And so, the wonderkind, thing is, he's not a superhero anymore.
Yeah.
And if we were to bring them together, we'd have a choice to make. And if we're looking at, field versus mound, I would take Soto, 20 times over Ohtani. And so, and, no on Ohtani from NFE.
Right. Yeah, and if Ohtani wants to go where he can win, I guess he doesn't want to come to the Yankees.
Well, right. Our division, us and the whole just basically tanked. So,
right.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I think just, looking to stay west in general.
Right.
And Brad is a little bit undecided, Chris.
Brad, I'm glad don't mince words. Tell us how you really feel about it. Okay. So that brings us to our prospect highlight of the week.
But we need some music for that.
We need some music. I wish we had some music. I could sing. I wanted to talk a little bit. I don't know a lot about prospects, so I'm trying to teach myself a little bit at a time. And I know that this is the name Drew Thorpe will probably be a familiar one to most of you out there. But I think he might be one of the pitchers who's a possibility for 2024. What is people in the chat? Do you know Drew Thorpe, and what is your opinion?
Yes, please let us know what buzz you've heard on him.
Yes.
Any articles you've read, because same Chris, I really do need to get to know the farm much better than I do.
Oh, yes, me too. This guy, he's from he was in High A Hudson and Double A Somerset last year. He's 23. He's 6'4". He's a college grad. He attended Cal Poly and was their number one starter. He was a consensus All-American in 2022 after ranking second in NCAA Division I strikeouts, and he had a school record in that year. He also had 14 consecutive quality starts. He signed in the second round for $1.187 million. He's definitely a up and coming talent to watch.
And,
good. NFE says he will get an invite to spring training.
And don't expect like fireworks.
No. He's ranked. He's tied for second among minor league leaders in wins. Actually, he was the minor league prospect. What did he turn out? I think he was the minor league. Emma, he's Major League Baseball's pitching prospect of the year. So minor league baseball's pitching prospect of the year. He ranks second in WHIP, fourth in ERA, sixth in batting average against. He's a command over velo guy, as I think NFE said. He says his changeup is his best pitch. And that seems like right in line with Yankee philosophy.
Yeah, I don't mind commands over velo. Think of Nestor. He's a good locator. Sometimes lower velo could work in your favor if you're throwing the right pitch. And NFE's also saying, you're talking about, how will the Yankees use him? NFE's already packing him off in the trade package.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's possible. He is definitely a possibility as a trade piece.
Yep. And FJA is saying Thorpe is the closest to being major league ready.
Yeah.
So agreeing with you, if the Yankees trade Schmidt or Nestor, he'll get to compete for the fifth spot.
Yeah. I found this quote about him. Thorpe has the athleticism and strength to repeat his simple delivery, provide plenty of strikes, and pile up innings. He has advanced feel for pitching, and his ability to sequence and locate his pitches allows him to get the most out of his stuff. He has a high floor as a non-certain starter, and he could work his way into the middle of a big league rotation. So he's, as you pointed out, like a Nestor.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there we go with dismissing Nestor again, which we've been doing for a few weeks now, thinking that, we're going to be putting Nestor in a package.
Right.
And if Thorpe is, Nestor Jr., well, I guess the jury is out with Nestor too in terms of how he's going to come back from, a season-ending injury. Right. But so Brad, on its face, then I'd be all for Thorpe. I'd be very surprised if he's not invited up for an audition in Tampa for sure.
Exactly.
And
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Lynn.
Nope, not at all. NFE. Yeah, no, got it. Understood. And it was a fair thought. So.
I mean, I think whatever it takes to get Soto is what we need to do. I mean, I hope Thorpe isn't part of the package, but if he is, so be it. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
I wanted to get some reaction to the World Series. We're a Yankee show, but we still got to talk about the World Series. Who's everybody rooting for?
All right. Well, so I'll start. And Brad, by the way, in the chat, Brad put before I answer, because I do have an opinion on that.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad. I'm going to follow up with that.
That's great. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks very much. So I'm for the Rangers all the way.
Me too.
I was so, nervous last night. I already lost all my fingers from the Bills game. And so this was not quite as bad for me because it's less investment. But thank God for a Lotus, again, like saving the day, I'm Rangers.
Yep, I'm 100% Rangers. I want to see my man Monty get a ring. He deserves it.
That's absolutely. And it's a give and take, because the last thing I want is Chapman to get another ring. Absolute last thing I want. But if he getting his, And I want him to just take it and come to the front office in the Bronx and wear it and make Cashman kiss it. That's what I
That's
want.
hysterical what FJ says there about Chapman giving up a walk-off in Game 7. I mean, absolutely. Any team foolish enough to put Chapman in that position deserves to lose the World Series. So, but I am rooting for the Rangers, and I can't say I'm rooting hard because it is kind of hard to care. But I don't care much for the Diamondbacks, just in general. So, and at least it's an American League team, whatever.
Well, whatever. And I was reading something on the MLB highlights email I get every morning about, it is true that the Diamondbacks are fun to watch in the sense that they're small ball. They're a small ball team.
Yeah.
That's not really going to bode well, although it did against us earlier this century. But no need to put us in tears. But yes, for all sorts of reasons. The Rangers. And I just want to say hi to Davey there, new friend in our chat. Welcome, Davey. And
hey, hi.
Yeah, I certainly am old enough to remember them prior to the dynasty, those sad slogging years of the late 70s and almost all of the 80s. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Soto and we'll continue talking about him every week because he brings so much on the field and off, I think, to the team. And back to predictions though. So NFE is saying the D-backs win it in 7. Okay, that's interesting. So
I got a question for the chat. Do we have too many catchers? Is it time to trade a catcher or parlay that into perhaps starting pitching or some other? What do you think about that?
So some of the folks in the chat will remember that I think it was one of the weekends you had to be away, Chris. That we did talk about it, and but I want to hear where we stand currently on it. And yeah, that's another like traffic jam, right?
It's a traffic jam,
and presuming / assuming that Trevi's going to come back, the Trevi we know, then who's going to be the tag team there? We have Higgy, who's getting up in age. We have Rortvet, who we've had a lot of data to collect on. And we have Austin Wells, who was brought up only because he was needed.
Right.
And so what are you thinking, Chris?
I'm thinking that I really, really liked watching Austin Wells hit home runs. And so that's no problem to me to watch. But there's some thought that, he did it, that he wasn't good, really strong behind the plate. And that turned out to be pretty okay for the pitchers. The staff seemed to work well with them. It's sad to see Higgy. I would hate to see Higgy go. He was a stalwart with Cole in the rotation until recently, in recent year. But yeah, it's too many catchers, and we've got to be able to streamline that area and get the best on the field. Trevino, of course, behind the dish, and Wells with the bat.
Right, except it's so rare to have that combination of offense and defense in a catcher.
Yeah.
It would make Wells really a strong trading piece. And not that I disagree with you whatsoever. And, Higgy was also a hot bat at the end of the season for us as well. But Higgy's not consistent, and that's an issue. And FJ is saying that that Higgy, was likely to be the one traded. Yeah. Agree. We can't carry. And Trevino will mentor Wells like Girardi.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart, my Joe. Was to Jorge. What will Davey saying? What will the catchers give me? Higgy will give us bullpen help.
Okay.
Would do that in a heartbeat, but I don't think we have any catcher that would yield a good starter with controllable years.
Okay. All right.
Very
Gotcha.
fair. Very good point.
And speaking of starters, if we were able to get a starter, who do you guys want? Yamamoto? Someone else? I love Blake Snell. Of course, Yamamoto is, I think, my top choice.
Yeah, and so are we going to? I think it's a dream to get Soto. Is it like the dream of a lifetime to even talk about Yamamoto Soto?
Oh yeah, and say that 3 times fast.
I'm not even going to try and embarrass myself but yeah, so yeah.
Have you guys seen the changes that are being proposed by Manfred? There's been some new ideas coming out of the commissioner's office, and as usual, there's quite stark. One of them is he proposes lowering the maximum allowable number of pitchers on the roster from 13 to 12. And secondly, he's proposing to address the issue of starting pitching and to sway the back to starting pitchers in starting games as opposed to openers. Fans want to see starting pitchers starting games, is what his thought is on that.
You know what, Bobby, baby, Manfred? Don't tell the fans what the fans want. Have you called
me? Exactly.
Have you called me in months? No. No, fans want a win. Fans want a win game. And we need it's so ridiculous. I almost am about to be tongue tied. But openers are a necessity. And not necessarily by choice. Think about the injury-ridden season we just had, and that really impacted our pitching. If and yeah, that's always kind of been the thing, complaining about the openers and stacking the pitchers and blah blah blah. And I may or may not have been one of them in the past, and may or may not be one of them again. But for you to propose that as an MLB that's sounding contractually directional. Absolutely not. We need that flexibility.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't impact the game. It impacts how we utilize the resources we have at the moment, day by day, inning by inning in a game.
And not only that, but why do you want to do not take strategy out of the hands of the managers? If you want, I mean, the strategy of using an opener was so innovative and so brilliant when I first saw Tampa Bay doing it. And the results were spectacular, which is why everyone started doing the same thing. But Jesse Rogers said, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred said today that making the starting pitching prominent again is a priority for the league. There's a lot of fans who feel like the change from let's see who today's pitching matchup is to who's the opener today has not been a positive one.
Well, I can see how that would play in the room, through the media. But come on, and there's something unique going on in the chat. They're not engaging on this topic.
Okay, well we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, and the Yankees have taken the strategy out of so Brad's saying the Yankees have taken the strategy out of Boone's hands.
Okay.
And Spencer.
Okay. Spencer, you agree with you don't like the opener.
So I know that in the future show, I promise to learn how to bring people into the studio. I'm currently not that person, but I'm going to learn. But since I can't, Spencer, tell us. So he's saying that the greater issue is
I
wanting.
think I know how to do it, Lynn. Do you want me to try?
If Spencer's game, then let's get him in to talk about it for a quick second.
All right. Let me see if I can figure. Actually, if we hit invite and then we copy this.
While Chris figures that out, I'm putting up what Spencer said. The greater issue is wanting starters to go long again. I hear that. Okay, I think that's fair. Because we do want to stretch those innings out, provided we have enough health going on.
I did it.
Yep, and so there. So, I'm in. So. Well, there it is. If anyone wants to jump in and contribute here, we'll take a few minutes before we wrap
we'll
up.
take a few minutes. If you want to jump in the chat, come on in.
Yep. Oh, it's Sideways Spencer. Oh, right
side up.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon from the dance studio. I'm taking my daughters to dance today and getting in my Yankee Pinstripe Chronicles and Upper Deck while I'm taking the girls to dance. This is real multitasking.
Wow.
We love a girl dad.
That's awesome.
Yes, I sure am. I was meant to have daughters.
That's awesome, and that's dedication for us. Thank you. So you're a girl kind of friend coming and joining me and Chris.
Exactly.
In our house, even the cat's a girl.
So Spencer, you don't like openers.
I don't object to openers per se. I think it's a good strategy. What I do not like is that we are in an age where starters are considered to have a good outing when they go even 4 innings or 5 innings or 6 innings. And I think what Manfred is trying to get to is trying to bring back starters that go to the 7th inning and to the 8th inning. That's what I really want to see. I don't like how baseball teams' strategies is to get 6 innings out of their starter, and then you go to a slew of relievers in the bullpen. Because when you go to the relievers in the bullpen, you never know what can happen. If one guy is having an off day, that could really change the outcome of a game. But even besides from that, I want to see starters go longer.
Fair point. Right. I think that's a very fair point.
Yeah, and I think you made me automatically think about Schmidt, and Schmidt was getting pulled at maybe like 6 and a third most of the time. Right. So and where
it's really unpleasant.
Yeah,
I think even for new fans, I think even they would like to see starters go longer. It bothers me, that we're in an age where new fans, see a 5-inning or a 6-inning start as something that's good and as something to strive for and as something to be impressed about.
Right. Well, so I want to clarify. I don't think of it as something good. I think of it as an option when necessary. And we've had to resort to it more so than utilize it as a practice and a strategy. So, that's the direction I'm heading with Manfred, dictating. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
We need to have that flexibility.
Yeah.
Would you agree about that?
I don't want there to be a rule where a starting pitcher has to go a minimum of a certain number of innings to start in the game. I don't agree with that concept at all. I don't mind the opener. I actually think the idea of an opener is a good idea.
Right.
But I guess the way I interpreted Manfred's letter is that he was trying to get to, again, as I said in the chat, the greater issue of starting pitchers just not going long. Because in effect, it's almost like the starters are now just openers. If you go 4 innings and you're having a good outing, you're in effect an opener, a glorified opener.
Right.
True.
That's true.
True that. Davey, welcome. What do you want to say about this Manfred thing?
Well, it's hot wash, and the reason why is all pitchers are right now power pitchers. I can't find one pitcher that's not a power pitcher. I remember back in the 80s, and man, I started watching the Yankees in 1986. My worst Yankee game was Andy Hawkins no hitter. I don't know if you guys remember that because that's my worst Yankee game I ever seen in my life. There was there's no pitchers that can pitch with when their stuff is not there anymore. Like, pitch a ground ball, double play when you need to, or pitch a lazy fly ball. They're all trying for a strikeout, and all of these type of pitching, power pitching, yield to fatigues. It yields to not knowing how to get out of sticky situations, and that's the problem. And I
Yeah.
don't think you cannot go now. Pitchers cannot go 7 innings. They can't. I mean, I don't know. No one can ever do like a Jack Morris type of a starter anymore, ever.
Right. Other than Cole, who could shove until you drag him off the mound. More often than not, he doesn't want to admit he's tired and go. So it seems like Spencer and Davey, you guys are on the same page, and so thanks for those opinions on that, Chris.
Do you guys have any opinions about the other Manfred proposal, and that is to lower the maximum allowable number of pitchers from 13 to 12? Did you hear about that?
That I did not. I'm not in agreement with that. I think the more arms that you have in the bullpen, I think the better off you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like teams just don't have enough pitchers. I'm okay with expanding rosters to allow for more pitchers to be in the bullpen. In an age of specialization, you really need all the pitchers that you can get. So no, I don't want to reduce the number of pitchers you have. That could really cause a lot of chaos, during the season when pitchers get hurt, or if there's an extra inning game and you've got to, send a guy down, bring a guy up. I think when you start having that type of chaos, I think it can really affect the fluidity of the team.
Yeah, and then he's going to create that. Then he needs to create a mercy rule, because if a game goes, 14 innings and you have that limit, then then what next? Davey, what do you got on this?
I don't know if they can do that. I don't even know owners will agree to that.
Right.
To be honest with you, because here's another thing. That means if you're gonna go from if you're gonna limit the pitches allowable, that means you have to develop starting pitchers that can last 8 innings, and there is no right now. There's no development plans to have pitchers last that long.
Right.
All of their developments right now just show your stuff. Give me that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Give me that that hard break slider. But there isn't any plans. Okay, being in a marathon, not right now. Pitching is like sprint. It's a sprint, not a marathon like it used to be.
Right. Yep. It sounds like you and Spencer are right on line, with all of that too. And so, while we got Chris, I'm sorry, did you have something else you wanted to add there? Because I'm thinking I want to seize the moment with Elliot here, with Spencer, Elliot, Spencer, Spencer Tracy.
Don't ask me why I switched the names around. It's a long story. Call me Elliot, call me Spencer, call me what you like. Just don't call me Shirley.
Or Shirley. My grandfather's was, just don't call me late for dinner. So let's wrap as we do with the answer to the trivia question of the week. I'm going to toss it back up on the screen, and you're looking at Spencer here, who gave us this ditty, so he could give us the answer. So the Yankees played their first World Series game October 10th, 1923, against the Giants in front of 55,000 fans at the new Yankee Stadium. Although known as the house that Ruth built, who hit the first World Series home run in Yankee Stadium? Tell us, Spence.
Give
The
us
first
that
World
answer.
Series, the first World. May I? Can you? Will you let me speak?
No.
The first home run in Yankee Stadium World Series history was hit by Giant center fielder young Casey Stengel. And somebody in the chat got the answer. I'm very impressed. I forgot who it
Somebody in
was,
the chat
but they
did
got
get
the
it.
answer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He hit
that-
it in the ninth inning. It was a 4-4 game, and he hit it in the ninth inning. Now, the Giants were the visiting team that day, so the Yankees got a final at bat, but he hit the game-deciding home run in that game. So very interesting and very ironic, as you can see as well, that Casey Stengel, who of course would become the Yankees manager and would manage the team throughout the 40s and the 50s, during those exceptional years for the Yankees.
Yep, that's awesome. And I think it was FJ who got that answer right at the beginning.
Excellent.
Good going, FJ.
And so way to go there. So Davey and Spencer, thanks so much for jumping on and short.
Thank you, guys.
And
Thank you.
and to all of you in the chat, it's been an exceptional episode with you. Just know that this was a one-shot deal.
Yep.
Next week we will be live at our usual time, Sundays at 11.
Yep.
That won't happen tomorrow because face it, you wouldn't want us twice in one weekend, would you? If you do, let us know. But next Sunday at 11 live. We look forward to having you. Davey, thank you so much for being our new friend. Hope to see you again. And as always, you'll have a reserved seat right here with Chris and me on the upper deck.
Go Yankees.
Go Yankees.